Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Super excited to be here and super excited to be able to interview Damon and talk about profit strategies and growth. As always, we have my fabulous co host, Megan. Megan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Enjoying the sunshine before it looks like it gets cloudy again.
I know. I'm really hoping that the sunshine really stays on and we stop. I don't want the rain anymore. I know we kind of need the rain in some areas, so it's okay, but I'd be loving some more sunshine. So, and how are you doing, Damon?
I'm doing great. We are in our dry season here in Seattle, and we get our 90 days of no rain, so it's it's
nice.
pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds incredible. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we are excited to dive right into some awesome questions. So thank you so much for being here. I just want to start off with like a basic question. You introducing yourself and sharing your background. And for those that don't know you, because I know you've been on before, but for those that don't know you or aren't aware of what you do, how you assist manufacturers and small businesses.
Yeah. Well, I started out with an engineering degree and working in manufacturing plants. I grew up on a farm in South Dakota, so that's where I started, and it was a working farm. I mean, you had a couple thousand acres, and it was a family farm. So that was a lot of it was a great experience growing up, and I realize that now even more as I live in suburbia in Seattle and really enjoy those memories. But I went to school for engineering. I didn't really know what I was going to end up doing, and ended up in manufacturing and injection molding when I started. And I was working in a machine in the tooling department where we were building the molds and doing that. And I actually worked my way through college by like sweeping the floors kind of thing, and ended up drafting molds and doing the CAD CAM. And at the end of my schooling, I continued to work for them for about a dozen years. But they were fast growing, so it was a lot of fun. We opened a few plants, and I eventually ended up opening a plant for them in Tennessee, and was there for about 6 years before I switched to another company and moved out here to Seattle, where I'm at now. And that was in like 99, 2000. And since then, and that time with the company I moved out of, it was an investor-owned company, and we were building that company, and we were buying other companies, and we were combining them, and eventually we sold that one. And since for about 10 years after that, that's what I did. I ran companies for investors, manufacturing companies mainly, and we would be buying them, building them, combining them, and then selling them when they were ready. So it was a really interesting ride for me doing that, and that transitioned into what I'm doing now. I envisioned the company that I started with a partner in 2015, back when I was in my 30s. And it was really about how can we help people that don't understand this whole process that investor owners know really well. And that's getting a company to the place, to the value you want. It was foreign to me when I first started doing it, because I was always in family businesses or on the farm. They were businesses, but you never thought about, what if I got my business to a size that would, if I sold it, or if I wanted to walk away and let other people run it, would make enough money that I really don't have to, I can do whatever I want. And I don't mean like go, build a Taj Mahal, but I mean, just like normal people stuff. Like I have enough money that I can maybe go do philanthropic causes, and money is not my, generate money is not my concern anymore. And it took me a long time to get there, but now that's what we get to do. We help clients, a handful of clients, really think about where they want to put their business, how much that takes, what their business looks like, what their next step is. Their next step might be, I'm working way too hard now. I want to get it so I can take a month or two off if I want. And then I want to, in this time frame, I want to walk away from it and pull this much money out when I sell it. So I get to do lots of fun stuff working with people now, strategizing that, and then bringing resources to bear to help them do that.
That's really great. I think also because a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, are start thinking about the startup part, right? Like getting it going, having it happen, and then that exiting is kind of an afterthought until you start to get a little burned out or maybe some circumstances change. So it's really great that you're able to provide that knowledge and help people set themselves up for success, really.
Well, and the thing that really set it off for me is when I started this business with my partner, it was actually under Cross Northwest because he already had a business brokerage, and I started with him in 2015. And I was out talking to business owners, and if you're in a business brokerage world, you're always talking to someone when they want to get out, right? And the worst conversation you can ever have with a business owner is say, your business is worth this much money. And it's like, they want this much and it's going to be worth that much. And that is just a horrible conversation to have when you are burnt out, like you say, because what are you going to do as that business owner? What are you going to do? You're trapped in your business if you can't get out for that amount of money, or you're going to radically change your lifestyle. And neither one of them is a good choice.
Yeah.
So that's why I really, it really set it off for me, is like, that's what I'm dedicating my work to do. And that's what we do in our company, because we don't want people to have to end up with that situation.
Right. No, I love that. And I know in the past we've talked about, you've mentioned it's hard when entrepreneurs and manufacturers, like that's when they should be thinking about it, is right, kind of as in their startup phase, as Megan had started. But in that phase, this is your baby. You're not ever thinking about selling or getting rid of it at that phase. You are just so kind of tunnel vision and not really looking at that. And so it's hard to kind of change that mindset. I think that's really important and leads greatly into our next question, which is, you've helped many businesses scale their business and achieve successful exits. What are the key steps manufacturers and small business owners should take to prepare for a successful business exit, and how can they best maximize business value?
Okay. So first thing, key steps, make sure you're not critical of the business. If the business can't run without you, you're a lot of the value, and the buyers are going to look at that. And every day I hear people tell me, well, I'm a plumbing business, or I'm a machining business, or I'm a another sheet metal fabricator. No, it's like, no, if you've got all the relationships with the customers, if you got all the relationships with your equipment suppliers and your employees and everything else, that's risky for a buyer to come in and pay a lot of money for that business, with the chance that a customer would walk away, or an key employee would walk out, or something like that. So the more that you can remove yourself from that and have a team, the right size team, running that business while you're gone, at least taking care of some of those important relationships, the better off you are. That's getting, because even if you could sell it, you're going to get a lot less for it if you say that. But if you say, no, I've got a team, I do these kind of decisions, and those are the ones that they should be. It's like, I'm making the long-term strategic decisions. I'm filling in when I need to once in a while, where someone's on vacation, that kind of thing. That's perfectly normal. But if you can't take a vacation for a couple of weeks without, the wheels falling off, it's not running well enough for you to consider selling it. And that's one of the first things from the standpoint. The second, from the business operation standpoint, the second thing is the buyers look at growth. And that's a really big thing, because if you've got the business on a nice growth pace, that's huge for a buyer. Because if I buy it today and it's worth $100 today based on the money it's making today, and you're on a nice growth path, that means my $100 value in a year might be $125 or $130. That gives me some breathing room, because I'm going to probably take a loan that's going to be 60, 70, 80% of that $100 value. And I've got to make payments on it, right? So the more my profitability goes up, the more excess cash flow I have to work with and in the business. So and that's a big question too, as a seller of a business. I always encourage someone to say, if you want to know how much you should get paid for your business, go onto one of these online loan calculators and figure out, if someone put 10% down, what's the remaining amount over 10 years at the current interest rate, and then double that. And your business has to make that payment amount per month or per year, what the total payments are per year. That's how much cash flow your business has to have to support that much money. it's a backwards way of doing it, but you can
Right.
basically figure out how much the value is close based on what a loan is at a bank.
I think that's a great tip, and that's a great way to look at it, because it's hard as a business owner. You're just kind of like, oh, how much is this worth? I want to get this much money for it. But really getting into some numbers and just being like, okay, yeah, the buyer does have to.
Yeah, they have to pay the interest. They got to pay the principal of the payment. And when you go to the banks require, an SBA bank requires you either 1.4 or 1.5 times the payment. And that's after your salary is taken out. That's after any growth capital is taken out. So we always say, listen, if you need $200,000 to support or it's usually, I think it's like 250,000 or something like that, supports about $1 million loan over 10 years. But if you have that, if you need 200 and the payments are 250,000, you should have $400,000 or $500,000 to make sure that you're going to have enough so the banks will be happy to support $1 million. It's a pretty simple calculation when you look at it from that standpoint, and it'll get you close.
Yeah,
that's better than shooting it in the dark.
Yeah,
right. I was like, I've never thought of it that way, so I like the way you were able to just take that backwards and look, and then the interest rates and that sort of thing is always changing. And so when you're on that time, it's good to look at that, because when you maybe purchased the business, it was way different than now when you're looking at selling it. Like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, I mean, the interest rate increase over the past 3 years is trimmed the buying power of the buyers by about 20%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and that just means if I want to get the same amount, I got to be 20% better, more profitable. Right. So, yeah. But value is always and value honestly is the number one reason why people don't sell. Either because the seller believes it's worth more and I would never sell it for that much, or the value that the person wants to pay is not close to what, market value would be for some reason. So, I mean, it happens in big companies too. I mean, we've had some people we work with in the past that have companies making $30-40 million or revenue, making really good profit, $8-10 million in profit. So really nicely profitable companies, but they don't have the first thing I talked about, ownership outside the business, right? And they'll get basically a couple times the profitability as a value from an investor group. And it's not nearly that it should be 6-7 times. So, these things can make a tremendous amount of difference if you do that preparation and work on the company right. And when you come back to starting company up, though, there's kind of a few jumping points. First of all, you got to make enough money to support yourself. And then as soon as you do that, you got to be investing enough money. You got to be investing enough money or start investing that along the way, so that you can start to hire employees that can leverage what you do into more to be able to get you to the point to where, you've got enough employees and things are happening that you are managing. And then you move into leading. It's steps. And what happens is, if I'm really good at something, it happens all the time in like machining or fabrication. You get somebody that's a great machinist, man, it's hard for them to get away from that, running those machines, doing the programming, seeing the stuff. So they won't go any higher because they want to be right in the mix of things. That's perfectly cool. But when you're getting to the point, if you ever want to exit, it's really hard. It's a lot harder.
Yeah. Something that I don't remember where I've heard or seen this, but a good CEO knows how to fire themselves, right? From all of their jobs. So you have to, outsource or hire those folks so that you can step away. Because a business that relies on you is dependent.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
It's a chain. It's a big anchor. It's a big anchor, because it'll take everything from you. It can. It'll take everything and more. And you really, I mean, as an entrepreneur starting a business, I mean, one of the things that I've realized over the years is that you really have to start early setting some. I mean, and I hate when people say work-life balance, because you're never going to get work-life balance as an entrepreneur, right? But if it gets to the point that you're neglecting your health and your family and your friends to the point where it's impacting relationships, it's going to some, but I mean, you got to really watch that your health. I mean, when I was in those businesses back in, I was 60, 70 pounds heavier, and it was because you neglecting health. And you just the business will suck you till you're dead if you don't let it. And that's the thing. And I love being able to work with people now and go, listen, there is a healthy amount of work we should do. And there's self-care that has to be done, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not here for your family, first of all, and you're not here for your business. So let's kind of rethink this, and it's because we all talk about it. I love talking about too, growing business. But if you as the owner are not healthy, first of all, healthy enough, right? And if you're not, your friend's family ecosphere is stinky. I mean, the business is not going to be your friend at the end of the day. It's just going to be there.
Truth.
Yep. It's just not going to be there. So I realized it the hard way, and I love to be able to coach people to do that, because yes, you got to grind when you're in the startup, but you still got to go, all right, there's a certain time, my friends, my spouse, my kids, my dog, whatever, it's time to do that. And then there's always got to be time for you, you're mentally, you're physically, and yeah, I can go on that a long time, because and I came from the age when we didn't talk about that.
True.
We didn't talk about it all. I mean, it was always you just work and work and family didn't come into and blend and all that other horse crap that we had to deal with. And now, I mean, you look at a whole, generations of people before us that horrible health and family lives and other things that really got hurt because of it. I'm done with that.
Right. No.
Yeah. It reminds me of my family. My grandparents had a business, and I don't even know how many years. My grandfather maybe sold it about 4 years ago. Mind you, now I think he's 86. So he was in his 80s when he sold this business. But now talking to my dad's like, yeah, my dad was not around really. He was always working. And then even my own business, when I shut it down last year, I was like, wow, that felt like breaking up with a toxic person.
Yeah.
Like it really does drain on you. So having that plan, that strategy, man, that's huge. Like that is so huge. So think about it, people.
Right. I feel like it's really about like shifting that mindset too.
It is.
Like really, it's a whole mindset shift to be like, no, how do I remove myself out of this so that it can run successfully when you were the one that started it and it's your baby. Yeah. And obviously you're probably passionate about that. And so really trying to shift and think about it in that way is really going to set you up for success. Which coming into kind of the next question that I was going to ask. So when you go to sell this business, and like you kind of said, now your business has to be 20% more profitable, let's say. So with manufacturers and business owners that struggle with profit growth, do you have any practical strategies or recommendations for boosting profitability without losing quality or efficiency of an operation?
Yeah, I tell you, I think the one thing I've seen and when working with manufacturers and when I was running manufacturers, the biggest thing that improves profitability is speed. I don't know how any way else to say it. If you're looking at your process and you're manufacturing something, I don't care if it's a car, if it's a whatever, it could be wood, it could be steel, it could be a mixture of electronics and steel and wood. It doesn't really matter. The more steps you can take out of it, the more components you can take out of it and combine and simplify. I've been in an organization where we were able to take, we had, what the heck was a SKU count? And it was making checkout counters for grocery stores, of all things, not very hard, right? But we had a SKU count of like 250,000 different SKUs because it was a 60-year-old company, and we made them for years and years and years, and each designer designed it one way or the other. And we took 2 years and we went back and redesigned the whole thing as efficiently as possible as we could based on the latest technology at that time. And we went from taking about 8 weeks to make an order to about 10 business days.
Whoa.
Well, what that did is you have to get rid of a lot of components and make a lot of them the same. You have to make sure that your inventory and your materials are flowing smoothly because you don't have that, oh, we're going to wait 6 weeks and then all that stuff's going to pile up, we're going to make it. But what it did from a profitability standpoint is we dropped the cost, reduced the cost by about 40%, and we increased the speed to the market. And this is where the real thing is we were able to then be more competitive on our bids because we were always here. And now we could be more competitive, a little bit more competitive on our bids because we were a little bit greedy. We wanted the profit. But the thing that we really could do is we could deliver in 10 business days. So we would be able to do things like here at that time, there were some big grocery expansions going on and we had 2 facilities on either side of the United States. And I said, we can deliver anywhere in 48 hours. There's 1 store worth of product and anywhere in 48 hours. It was pretty standard product. We can make it. We could have it on the shelves, and it was a truckload, but it was still like that. Nobody else could do it because we could replenish so fast. We could do these other things so fast. And we always had components to do a quick order because if I'm putting this same little bumper on every single unit, it makes things so much easier. And it's counterintuitive what to people that entrepreneurs and inventors want to do. We want to make all this little special stuff that makes things good. But if you're making multiple things, you really got to consider that and get your processes fast.
Yeah. Clean it out. Simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Simple.
Almost
Simple.
simplify your products. It's almost better to have 3 offerings than it would be to have 20 different offerings, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Or even leverage your technology. I mean, that's one of the things that we did is that it was, so these were made out of wood, right? And one of the things is people would always, they thought, well, I wanted this size. Well, they had like 27 sizes. And it was all programming to us that it didn't really matter. Once we did what we did, we could make belts, didn't matter what the length was, but we could get the belt. We actually started making the belts ourselves. So, and the wood and all the stuff was easy to cut shorter. And when you got all the other components that fit, it doesn't matter. We say, you tell us whatever size you want. It's the same amount of time because our machines didn't care. You leverage technology to give people more variability that matters to them and gives you a little bit more. You can say, yeah, you can vary whatever you want. And we're good on some things, but some you have to stand firm on.
That's smart too, because it almost feels like you're able to pick and choose and customize when really the manufacturing facility is still going to have that nice same standard flow, nice and quick. Wow, that's smart.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's giving people options and leading them into options that might help them and won't hurt you.
Right. Yeah. And become more competitive too. So
yeah. But getting your business ready, the profitability in manufacturing is hard sometimes because of machine constraints. And the other thing I've seen too is that people get locked in, especially we had to do this in the molding facilities that I ran. You know, you get into, okay, we're going to run 1 shift. We're going to run 2 shifts. We're going to run 3 shifts, 5 days a week. Well, consider what your company would look like if you ran weekend shifts. Consider if you ran 24/7. Now, I've done that. I don't suggest it unless that's what your customer demand needs, but you unlock such a huge amount of potential because if my machines are just turned off for 8 hours a day, it's costing me the same amount whether they're sitting there running or not.
Right.
That machine is. And we really saw a lot. And when you're in a super competitive industry, that difference makes a huge difference in your profitability. When we switched molding facilities to 24/7, it was absolutely amazing how much the profitability went up.
Did that mean you were making a lot more then too, being on that 24/7?
I mean, the revenue for the whole facility, yes.
Yeah. How about just the quantity of what you're making? Like, were you guys?
Oh yeah. Everything you added production hours, right? You just added production hours. So you'd add whatever it was, 25-30% more by going from 5 days, 24 hours to 7 days, 24 hours. And the thing is that a lot of places have done it, but that's the kind of thing. If you're capacity constrained with your equipment, you really got to look at the hours you're operating. Because I've walked into places before and I said, "Oh, we're maxed out. We can't do anything of how many hours you run." Oh, we run like 12 hours during the week, 5 days. I'm like, you got to get that equipment running more.
Wow.
You know, that's one of the things you really got to do. Manufacturing it stinks because some of that equipment's really expensive, but the more expensive it is, the more you want to run it 24 hours a day if you can.
Get your return.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've just never, I never thought about it that way. And I think it's important to note, just because you're simplifying your offerings or your product or whatever it is you're making, that doesn't really necessarily mean you need to, like the quality isn't going to be the same, because essentially you're taking one of your products and you're mastering it. And that is like what you're mastering and what you're doing, instead of almost doing so many different things or variety of things that you're never really mastering about. So I really think it's important that you could probably master one thing and do it a lot quicker and add your profitability.
That is true.
That was
You
quality.
just took out it. Instead of doing 10 different things, I can do one and I can get really good at it. You know, 10 different whatever you're putting together for these units or that, you know, it's amazing how reduction in complexity will help quality.
Because I feel like when people hear speed, they're like, oh, I don't want our quality to go bad. And I think if you really, it's another kind of shift of mindset. You shift that mindset, you're able to figure that out and then boost the growth. So
yeah. You can't go fast without good quality. Otherwise you're just gonna have a pile of junk at the other end.
Right.
And that's that, you got to start with that in mind. Yeah.
So to kind of switch gears a little bit, but still on the track of boosting growth and other opportunities, I hear that you and our good friend Kurt Anderson have a very exciting new offering that we are going to be offering our manufacturers. So I wanted you to share a little bit about what the offering is, about going live or utilizing live shows, and how it can help small business owners engage with their audience and grow their brand.
Yeah, you know, Kurt and I, we been thinking about this for a while and finally started doing it and got the course together. But we've been live streaming for about 4 years now, and between the two of us, we've got 500 plus episodes. But the real thing is we've been able to build an incredible relationships and business because of live streaming, and our business development work is so much easier, because it's not like I'm trying to sell something, anybody, anything really, because I hate business development. I think it's just like, I'd rather someone, you know, as I tell Kurt, I'd rather someone shoot a nail through my hand, right? That's, you just do that, I'd be happier than making a cold call. But it is a way for you to flip the script on business development and build the relationships, because in manufacturing, we're not trying to get thousands of customers. Usually it's more like, hey, if I had 10 new customers, that might be a great year for me as a manufacturer. Well, you can take the time with live streaming to really build relationships with people that you're currently doing business, people in the industry, and people that you might potentially do business with, by highlighting them and the cool stuff they're doing. And you get to talk to them about it on a live stream, right? And share what they're doing and highlight them. And so we believe in this 100% for manufacturers and other B2B kind of people that are businesses that are selling, because we've lived it. And so we put the course together with, I don't know, it's got four or five sections. I don't quote me, but you know, it takes you through the process, because over the years, we figured out, okay, don't do this, use this tool, use that tool. And also then how to automate it all through the CRM. So things happen a lot easier, and we get things, and we can make the experience for the guests easier while not having it a huge workload. But we're excited about it. We're going to be actually releasing it the end of this month, and people can sign up. The course starts 1st of August. So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I love it. I know, I'm excited.
Yeah. Awesome to share. Like, because Sammy, we do this here because of you guys. So it's a great way too for the MEP to talk to different manufacturers, different experts.
Oh, yeah.
Do this. When we talk to other MEP centers, they're always like, oh, interesting that you guys do that. You know, we're like, yeah, it's a great way to have this resource also, where our team can now send these videos to our different clients and be like, hey, you are interested in lean? Check out this whole talk that we did with Phil. Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%. It helps so much. And then as you do this over time, you build up this library of videos, you will get people that will call you and because they see the videos, because they do that and they want to talk to you about something you saw in the video. And it just is, it's such a pleasant experience because you don't have to do what normal business development takes, and you can really build relationships with people, and the business does come over time. But it's the way I think people want to do business more today.
No, absolutely. And I know what really sold me is, like you said, it's not really a cold call. You're able to do this great live interview. You're able to build relationships, but it's also a recorded video that now you can go in and maybe it's beneficial for your clients. Maybe now you're turning it into social media posts. Maybe now you're turning it into a blog post. Like there's so many things that just by spending 30 minutes or however long you want to spend in an interview and repurposing out there to really grow your brand and your audience. Mm-hmm. So now that I know you've been doing this for about 4 years and you have successful shows like the Faces of Businesses or the Faces of Business and MFG e-commerce success.
Yep.
What key lessons did you learn during that process? I know that you guys have really honed in on it, but what key lessons did you learn when you started live streaming in the beginning?
Don't worry about what you look like on camera. I mean, first thing, most people say, I don't want to be on camera because I don't want to look like, I don't know. And this is bad, but I don't watch many of my videos. What I really want to do is I want to concentrate on the conversation we're having. If you want to do live streaming, you want to have good live streams. I really think you concentrate on your guests. You concentrate on what they're saying. You take down good notes while they're talking because, and this is one of the things, if you're going to do the live stream, go out and study some of the good people that have done it. And yes, there's some of them that are crazy because, Joe Rogan, he's an interesting dude, right? In a lot of ways, but for someone that can keep people intrigued for 4 hours in a podcast, it's worth listening or understanding what they do. You look at some of these old timers like Larry King, who's gone now, but David Letterman or even, some of these other night show people. Watch what they do if you want to get better at live streaming or take the time to, and it's a YouTube thing, right? You get on YouTube, there's tons of videos about it, but, and then just have fun with your guests and really help them share their passion and worry about that. And everything else kind of comes together, but on the back end of it, work on your processes. I mean, get the processes down because it's not difficult. And once you get it laid out pretty well and you know how to do it, anybody can help you do it. And then you can automate with a CRM or something to make it even nicer. And it all gets pretty easy after that.
I think that starting off with the not caring how you look on camera, people want authenticity. Like they want, they're spending this time to see like the real you, not this scripted, this is what I do. It's, people are real because we're all real. And it's like a breath of fresh air when you're like, oh, hey, look at the, Damon's talking real right now.
Yeah. It's thick. Exactly. And that's why I like it. I to this date, I've not edited a bit of the videos and I never will. Unless someone, it's not happening.
Is it for you?
It's not happening. Because that's the exact thing, right? You want people to really, really understand who you are, who your guest is, and let them have fun. And if people don't like it, who cares? We're not gonna like it. We're not ice cream. It's just the way it is.
No, absolutely. Well, I love this. I'm super glad that you and Kurt showed this to us and that we can start doing this. And we've interviewed a lot of great experts and amazing clients. So I'm super excited to be able to now share your guys' new offering with our clients. So I'm super excited for the opportunity. And it's always great to meet with you. The last question I always like to end with is, what are you most excited about the next year, and how can where can clients go to reach you? I hope they can reach out to MEP and we'll get you connected to Damon, but where can they find you if they wanted to give you a shout out?
They can hit me on LinkedIn. That's pretty good. I'm the only one with my name, so it's easy, good and bad. Then what I'm excited about two things. One is I just discovered a place that I can walk on the beach really close to my house. Woo! That's nice this time of year with good low tide. Oh, man.
That's amazing.
excited about that. Excited about this course release, obviously, but I always like to temper what's going on. I think that the business community, and manufacturing and a lot of other things, I think we might have some challenge ahead of us in the next year with the interest rates catching up to all the overall economy and things like that.
Mhm.
But I really am excited about what I see people. The resilience of entrepreneurs is always inspiring. You see people figuring out new ways to do things better, or just keep going and doing better. I'm always excited about that.
Growth.
Yeah.
Growth. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Scale, sell, and succeed, or whatever. I think that was our title, and it was very, very fitting. So
Good job, Sammy.
Thank you for having me.
no,
Yeah,
thank you so much for
Damon.
being here, Damon. It was really wonderful to see you and get to connect with you again. And we're super excited for your new offering and to share this with others and our clients. So thank you for taking the time to be here on Thursday. And thank you guys. We do this every other Thursday. So please be sure to tune in 2 more weeks for another exciting interview. And thank you so much, Damon and Megan.
Thank you.